Matip, who have returned positive COVID tests, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, who makes way to the bench. Jurgen Klopp is also absent today. He also returned. Well, we'll leave that one there as it's a warm welcome along to this unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary of Chelsea against Liverpool in the Premier League. It's going to be a feisty clash, this one, as second against third fight off against each other as they look to gain points on Manchester City at the top of the table, as Sadio Mane, within 5 seconds, has received a yellow card in this game. A long ball forward from Liverpool to the left-hand side. Mane jumped into the air. Azpilicueta has gone down holding his face. As I tell you what, that is dangerous for Mane.
Well, it is, Matt, absolutely. I mean, I'm not even sure if VAR might want to have a quick look at this one. I mean, he's doing his best to break that Vinnie Jones record of getting the fastest ever booking in the Premier League. And as I say, it might just be a little bit below a straight red. But what is Mane doing there? Well, I mean, it seemed like there was only intention to try and make contact with Azpilicueta there.
Absolutely. That was the thoughts and opinions of Paul Szczerbakowicz, alongside me, myself, Matt Guy, to bring you the coverage of this game. And with that stoppage, I have to say I agree with you that I'm surprised that VAR have not taken another look at that one. Sadio Mane, who's on a bit of a goal drought for Liverpool at the moment, although he was the goal scorer of both goals in this game last season at Stamford Bridge, as Liverpool won that one 2-0. Frustration across the face of Thomas Tuchel as well early in this game. I would have thought that's to do with the Mane clash, and he thought it was a red.
I think so. I think that there's been a lot of talk in the last week or so about VAR inconsistency, but here come Chelsea down the left now. A ball played in towards Alonso, but just about covered there by Alexander-Arnold. Chelsea still with a chance here at the edge of the area. Yeah,
down the left-hand side for Chelsea. It's Alonso tries to go back to Kovacic. It comes back to Rudiger instead. It's controlled edge of the box by Havertz. Question of handball, but continued play. Kante fires it into Mount as Van Dijk just cuts out a through ball there, but it's picked up by Chelsea once again, who started on the front foot here. Foot in there from Tsimikas. Milner tried to get involved as well as Kante tries to lift one over the defensive line. Van Dijk headers away. Fabinho beats it in the air to Kante, and then taken down by Jota, and Liverpool look to break down the left. It's a ball into Mane, who's been at the forefront of this game so far, as he gets the ball nipped off his feet by Azpilicueta, as Milner steps in quick on Kante as well. But it's been a quick start to this game, and pinball around the midfield as Henderson tries to take it down this time. He loses it on this occasion, and Chelsea break again down the left hand side. Fast start to the game at Stamford Bridge. It's Alonso cutting inside, finds the feet of Kovacic, holds off Salah, goes out wide to Alonso once again. Alexander-Arnold comes across slowly, blocks that one, goes out, and it will be a corner.
Well, it's a positive start from Chelsea. Liverpool, Mane getting involved with Azpilicueta after just a few seconds, but since then it's been all Chelsea as they try and push forward. They win themselves an early corner.
Absolutely. It was Alonso down the left-hand side, who's in today, although he did come onto the field early on against Brighton as Reece James picked up an injury in that game. He's one of many Chelsea's players who are missing today. Liverpool also missing a number as well, whether that's through injury or COVID-related issues as well. But Mount here with the corner goes back to Alonso, who lifts it back into the box. It's a poor cross headed out by Milner. Salah will be asked to chase that one, but the ball will go all the way back to the Croatian. That is Matteo Kovacic. He then goes back to Kante, and the pressure will finally be released from this game as it comes back to Mendy.
Yeah, disappointing there from Alonso. I think that if they're going to play the short corner, he's got to get a little bit more height on that cross. It was easy for Liverpool to deal with that, but a positive start this from Chelsea, and a long ball from Mendy that might still give Azpilicueta something to chase.
Yes, Trent Alexander-Arnold just about keeps it in play and plays it down the left-hand side. He was at left back there, as Liverpool often swap their two full-backs at corner routines, as Fabinho gives the ball away. Mane just ran away from it there. Chelsea on the ball again. Kovacic looking to go left, but eventually just settles to go backwards to Thiago Silva, and his cool head, experienced head, finds Kante. Looking out to the right-hand side, finds Mount, then back with Chalobah and back with Thiago Silva. A good chance then to run you through the two-team lineups, although you've probably heard the majority of them. It's Mendy in net for Chelsea, with Thiago Silva in the middle of a back three, as we'll break off for a moment as he plays a ball over the top to Azpilicueta, cut out by Alexander-Arnold, finding a man in midfield. That one will be Fabinho, back to Milner, then into Henderson, just has to prod that one into the skies as Kovacic wins the next header, and Van Dijk the follow-up as Alonso picks it up this time, and Chelsea once again in possession as it's Thiago Silva in between Trevor Chalobah and Antonio Rudiger. Azpilicueta on the right, Alonso on the left, with Kante and Kovacic in between, and then Havertz the false nine with Mount and Pulisic either side. As for Liverpool, it's Kelleher between the sticks, with a back four of Alexander-Arnold, Konate, Van Dijk and Tsimikas. Fabinho, Henderson and Milner are the experienced midfield three, with Salah, Jota and Mane up top. It's a throw-in on the left-hand side for Chelsea, and it's been a feisty start to the game. That has been absolutely sure. We were discussing this game before it kicked off, and we were saying that it's probably going to be a good one, as both teams really need to win this one.
They do. Sometimes these games near the top of the league becomes a little bit of a stalemate, where both teams are more afraid of losing than they are afraid. They have the belief to go forward and actually try and win. But with Man City getting this really big lead in the league now, it's important for Liverpool and Chelsea to try and make up that difference. But here come Liverpool now with a ball to Mane.
Yeah, bad header back by Chalobah. It's Mane into Salah in the box. Rudiger's there. It's saved by Mendy. I'm not sure who it came off last, as Thiago Silva now plays a ball out to the left-hand side into Alonso, and Chelsea will pick up possession once again. It was a good ball from Mane into the middle. I'm not sure whether he hit it quite hard enough for Salah to get there, and I'm not sure whether it was Rudiger or Salah that took the final touch, but a ball in behind for Chelsea here. On the left-hand side, it's Mason Mount against Ibrahima Konate. Cuts inside on his right foot, then looks to chop back. Questions maybe of a penalty there, but nothing from Anthony Taylor's point of view, as Tsimikas goes down the right, and that one's blocked away by Kovacic, as Van Dijk finally tells Tsimikas and then Alexander-Arnold to switch sides.
Absolutely, they're going to get back to where they're supposed to be, but yeah, that chance for Liverpool, the pass was just a little bit under hit. I do actually think it may have been Rudiger that forced Mendy into that save, though.
Yeah, it might have been, as it was in fact, Pulisic down the left and not Mason Mount before as well. I got mistaken there, as Alexander-Arnold takes the throw in and knocks it 1-2 with Jota down the line into Salah, who keeps the ball in play, but there's nobody there in a Liverpool red shirt to pick that one up, and it's still Chelsea who are dominating the possession so far. Liverpool have gone behind in their last 3 games, haven't they? That win against Newcastle, the draw against Tottenham, and the Leicester loss. They need to do something in this game, because at the moment they're looking like they're going to go behind again.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing as well that's bad form when you're near the top of the league, it becomes just a huge mistake there at the back, and goalkeeper Keller has to come out and make a save. Liverpool making a mess of it at the back. The ball presented to Christian Pulisic, but credit to Kelleher, he reacted quickly and somehow keeps the score at 0-0.
It was Trent Alexander-Arnold once again on the left-hand side of defence, where he doesn't want himself to be. He tried to play the ball down the line, it was blocked, and then the man cuts inside and Kelleher was there one-on-one.
The thing is, Alexander-Arnold's got such a good right foot, and Tsimikas is so left-footed. I can understand it for a corner or a free kick where they switch for a second, but it can't be something that happens long term. I mean, what happens there is Arnold actually comes across from the middle over to the left, and that makes a real mess of his attempted clearance. Good work there from Havertz to close him down, and then Pulisic perhaps just a little bit laboured in trying to get around Kelleher as well. Yeah,
Kelleher stepping in today for Alisson, who has returned a positive COVID test and therefore won't take part in today's game. And the youngster, of course, who last played against Leicester City in the League Cup, that one 3-3. He made some good saves in that, but still conceded 3. So a lot of pressure on the young man's shoulders today, as Van Dijk just plays a ball back to him now. His pressure coming here from a Chelsea man, as Mount tells Havertz to join the press, as Konate clears it down the right-hand side, flicked on by Jota, looking for Mane in behind, and Chalobah puts boot to ball and fires that one out of play. Does he? Or Rudiger may have kept it in.
Might have just stayed in, but I just wonder, because Jurgen Klopp isn't here today, he has shown some COVID symptoms and wasn't able to be at the games today. I just wonder, is that going to have an impact? Because his voice and his commanding voice on the touchline, Pepe Linda's, for how well, of course, the players know and respect him, there's always going to be a difference when the manager isn't there. Yeah,
absolutely. The barking orders of Jurgen Klopp from the sidelines that I'm sure they'll hear all around us. Chalobah makes another mistake. It falls into Mane. Mane up against Mendy, cuts to his left-hand side, shoots and scores at the Chelsea end there. It was a real horror show at the back from Trevor Chalobah, and he liked Alexander-Arnold on the other side, but he is unfortunate and doesn't get away with it.
No, he doesn't. Liverpool have been playing it very risky at the edge of their own box, losing the ball a couple of times, and now a mistake from Chalobah. Chelsea have virtually had no work to do in defence in these first 9 minutes, but now they take the lead, and it would be Sadio Mane, wouldn't it? I'm sure there'll be more than a few people who think he might not even be on the pitch now after that challenge in the first minute. But what is Chalobah doing there? He's diving down to head a ball at the edge of his own box. I'm not sure if he doesn't make the right contact with it because he doesn't get enough distance on it, but he just seemed to be in the wrong position anyway, and then Mane still has to keep his head. Azpilicueta frantically trying to get back on the line, but it's Mane that puts Liverpool in front.
Yeah, it's not a good ball from Jota. It's straight to Chalobah, who didn't quite read the flight of the ball, and I don't think he expected it to bounce before him, and it bounces before he even gets to his head, does he? And just knocks it straight into Mane's path, and he goes around his compatriot, of course, Eduoard Mendy, as both of them two after this game will be flying off to the African Cup of Nations.
They will, absolutely, and straight away Pep Linda's turning to that huge travelling support that Liverpool had at the other end, and it's Mane's 10th goal of the season. You mentioned he's not been in great goal scoring form, but he's still got 10 for the season, around about the halfway mark, as Chelsea now trying to respond here with Mason Mount.
Yeah, 10 in all all competitions. That's its 8th in the league as Fabinho steps over the ball and I thought fouled the Chelsea man, but nothing given. Alexander-Arnold then goes long and the ball ends up just going through to Mendy. Incidentally, Mane, after I mentioned those 2 goals last season against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, becomes the first Liverpool player to score in consecutive games at Stamford Bridge since Jack Barmer in 1947.
Wow, that is quite a record, and it just goes to show that even in the years where Chelsea weren't a particularly strong side, it just wasn't easy for any player to get that kind of run. But Mane, that's a big goal for him, of course. And as I say, there will be some Chelsea fans who feel as though he's lucky to still be on the field. But now that's the early goal for Liverpool, I suppose, from the neutral's point of view, is the best result because it just means that home side have to open up even more and try and go for the attack even more. So we should hopefully see an even more open game now.
Yeah, absolutely. That will give the Liverpool players confidence, of course, that goal. But it was Chelsea on the front foot, and they will take confidence from that fact, despite the fact they are behind. And although it's a little bit of a kick in the teeth for Trevor Chalobah, who's been fantastic this season coming in, hasn't he? He's even picked up a couple of goals himself as Kelleher gives the ball away. Alonso will pick it up and head it to the left-hand side as Pulisic returns it back to the left-back, comes back in towards Kovacic, maybe a chance to shoot, opens up his body, finds Azpilicueta. Does he know that one's just gone wide and out for a throw?
Yeah, just behind Azpilicueta. Azpilicueta was actually pointing towards the corner flag, saying, look, give me a through ball, give me something to run onto rather than something behind me. But we see this again. I don't like this challenge from Mane in the first minute. Crashing into... I think what saves him is the fact that it's more the forearm that makes contact with Azpilicueta rather than a full-on elbow. But even so, he was very... I still think he might have been lucky to stay on the field. If he does that same challenge after an hour, I think it might have been easy for the officials to make that decision.
Yeah, I think it's been 2 aspects. I think the fact that it hits his forearm and then goes down, slides up to his fingers, doesn't it, which contacts Azpilicueta. But I didn't quite see on the replay where he was looking. Was he looking at Azpilicueta and knew where he was, or was he looking at the ball? I couldn't see.
It was more up in the air. We need to see that replay again. I'm sure we'll see it again because it's going to be a talking point in this game no matter what. But Rudiger's ball into the box now, easily claimed by Kelleher.
Absolutely. 12 minutes almost gone at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1, and the controversial man Sadio Mane is the man that's put them ahead. As Fabinho just trying to stretch onto a ball here. Kovacic gets a touch as well. Milner and Kante in a foot race. Milner wins it there, gives it into Mane, who opens up the play over to Henderson. It's a poor ball, and Henderson just has to stab it into midfield. Alexander-Arnold wins a header, but it's picked up by Alonso. Fabinho in with a tackle. Foul, says Anthony Taylor, the referee. First contact on the Blues man, and then contact afterwards on the ball. But Chelsea still winning these second balls.
They are. You can't fault Chelsea's efforts since the start of this game. Liverpool have been pushed back into their own half as the away side, and Chelsea are dominating in terms of possession, although it's Liverpool that have taken an early lead, and now Chelsea have taken a short free kick.
Yeah, quickly to the left-hand side to Alonso. Overlapping down the left is Pulisic, and the ball comes into his feet, goes back to Alonso. As Chelsea, of course, will continue to look for their wide fullbacks, won't they, in this back five, as the ball's lifted over the top towards Alonso. Just can't quite control that one down on his left boot. Good ball from Thiago Silva.
It was a good ball. It needed maybe just to be a yard or two shorter. Difficult to criticise when you're passing from that sort of distance. I mean, Thiago Silva is actually in the centre circle when he makes that pass. And as I say, it's fine margins. It was a really good effort to get that ball to Alonso, and it was a good effort from Alonso to actually try and control it as well.
Absolutely. He ran from the flank in behind Jota and Henderson. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold was trying to mark the wide man as Liverpool give it away again. Now Mount picks it up on his right foot. Milner comes in for a tackle, as does Mane, but he's managed to squirm the ball away to Kante. Then Van Dijk up against Kante, and it comes back to Kelleher now under pressure from Havertz. Goes left-footed down the left-hand side, and the ball will go out of play before Mane gets it.
I think this is proof that Chelsea's start is still putting pressure on Liverpool. Scoring that goal hasn't really taken that pressure off the defence, because they're still constantly being bombarded here by Chelsea efforts to get forward. And it's paying off for Chelsea because Liverpool are making mistakes at the back all the time.
Absolutely, and just to think that they're without the two best fullbacks, you would say, in Reece James and Chilwell, who are probably first choice. They're without Jorginho, who's scored 6 this season. They're without Romelu Lukaku, for whatever reason that is, within the camp, as Azpilicueta picks the ball up on the right-hand side into Mount's feet now, returns it back to his skipper, feigns the first cross, comes back on his left foot. Tsimikas is there marking. As Chelsea play a triangle, it comes out to Azpilicueta, goes down the line, it's flicked down that line by Kante, then Tsimikas steps in, has to control that one and tries to go down the line himself. Mane goes down under a tackle, no foul, says neither referee nor official on the sidelines as it comes into Kante now. Chelsea still on the ball, edge of the box, left-footed cross comes in, Kanate with the first header, Milner with the second, threads the ball between two Chelsea men, and the ball comes back all the way to Thiago Silva. Still, Chelsea knocking on the edge of the box, and Mane is frustrated over on that far side. I thought thought he was a bit rash again.
Yeah, well, as I say, he certainly started in a very sort of fiery mood, Mane. It's part of his game, of course. He needs that to sort of use that as a sort of fuel almost. But from Chelsea's point of view, we just saw a stat there as well. They've not lost in their last 5 home games, but they've only won one of them, drawing the other 4. And the opposition wasn't of sort of top 6, top 4 standard. They've had draws against sides like Chelsea, against Burnley, I should say. And that does mean that I think they've just lost a little bit of that edge. We can see after 15 minutes the possession stats, 68% for Chelsea, 32% for Liverpool, but it's still Liverpool who lead.
Continues as Kovacic choke to the right-hand side, finds Azpilicueta, chests it down, looking for a cross, cuts it back in towards Mount as Milner comes across with a quick sliding in block there on the blind side of Mason Mount, who didn't know he was there.
Well, the Liverpool players, they all look exasperated, don't they? Like they've been sort of defending their goal for 80 minutes with 10 men almost. It's been a very, very bright start from Chelsea. But really, Kelleher's had more sweeping up to do rather than actual shot stopping so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Liverpool who are rather on the back foot. It's almost as if they're a cat with headlights coming straight at them, isn't it? The way they've been at this game. They weren't at their best against Leicester and lost that one as Alonso whips in the corner front post. It's headed away by Tsimikas, who lands awkwardly. Jota's over there battling with Mount. I think a couple of Liverpool players may still be down there. No, they're up to their feet now as Pulisic slides in. That's a bit rash on Jota. Anthony Taylor gives a free kick. He certainly won the ball initially there, Pulisic, but the way he went through was certainly questionable.
Well, he did, and there's quite a bit of a protest there from Chelsea players. I don't think there's going to be a booking here for Pulisic, but I think there may be a booking here for Alonso. Certainly, Anthony Taylor was considering it just for the ferocity of the appeal there, that they weren't happy with that decision. Referee is now trying to calm down Azpilicueta, the Chelsea captain. Alonso's ball to Pulisic. Yeah, he overplays that. He does go through Jota, doesn't he?
Yeah, these days when you're talking about red card challenges, I don't think it is personally, but it's the fact that yes, he's won the ball, but he's off his feet, isn't he, and it goes in with a little bit too much oomph.
He does, and he does get a booking in the end, Pulisic, so he's the first Chelsea man in the book this afternoon. And you've got to say that both yellow cards so far in this game, different referees, different days, different period of the match, they both could have been reds.
Yeah, they've both been strong yellows, haven't they? That's absolutely for certain. As Anthony Taylor, one of the more experienced men in the refereeing camp, taking the helm of this one. Incidentally, VAR was supposed to be Paul Tierney, the man that didn't send off Harry Kane against Liverpool, and there are a few little bits of protest and not happy with that. He's been switched.
Well, it hasn't been a good season for VAR. It's been better than the previous two, where there was all kinds of controversies and the fingernail offside and all of that kind of thing. But now what we're getting is that it seems that in certain games they don't want to reverse the referee's decision, and it's almost like they're trying to sort of support the referee on the field by making sure that most of his decisions are correct, and that's not really the reason why VAR was brought in. And I'd still like to see the main officials see the replays quicker than what they are for now. It still annoys me that they spend 2 minutes telling everyone to calm down before they go and check it themselves. You check it yourself straight away. You don't need to get VAR officials watching it independently. Get everyone watching it at the same time, I think.
Absolutely. The VAR is incidentally Darren England, as it was switched from Paul Tierney, as Chelsea once again on the ball go down the right hand side. Van Dijk just hovering off Havertz as the ball goes down. Kelleher goes down, the ball comes off him, goes out for a free kick, maybe. I'm not too sure there. Havertz is battling for the ball. Van Dijk,
he's not happy at all here, Havertz. I think that he's actually getting in the face of the linesman there. We'll see from this replay as it's Azpilicueta's ball over the top. Havertz is chasing it. I think his argument is that he's won a corner, whereas I think it was just given as a free kick for him pushing on Kelleher.
It was, yes. As Tsimikas goes down the left now into Mane. It's another poor clearance, this time by Azpilicueta, as Chalobah takes a little bit too much time but manages to get the ball away to Thiago Silva. Good ball inside from Azpilicueta into Kante. Looking to stride past Fabinho, does exactly that. Looking to his right now. Plays the ball in front of Mason Mount, just about keeps it in play to get there quickly as he lifts it towards the far post now. Alonso coming in, hits it on the volley. He's certainly got the technique and quality to be able to do that, but on this occasion sliced it wide.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very high risk shot, that, isn't it? Because there's so many things that can go wrong in terms of the timing, in terms of that ball coming in at pace from such a height, and to try and find that top corner where you've got so little of the goal to work with as well. I just think that Alonso, when you look at Havertz in the middle, he's almost got 2 or 3 square yards around him to try and get the ball to him. And certainly Tuchel is furious there, because that should have been the last resort for Alonso, that shot.
Yeah, I think Tuchel was saying, stay calm, make the correct decision. If he went with it in step and just passed it towards even goal. The keeper may have even parried it out to Havertz, but as it is, it's Liverpool on the counter now. Jota looking to fire one through to Mane. Poor ball intercepted by a Chelsea man. Then Kante steps in again, and Azpilicueta will thump that down the right hand side as Van Dijk heads it down. 48% of the game and the territory has been in Liverpool's third so far. That shows how they've been on the back foot despite being ahead.
Yeah, and then another 39% in midfield and just 13% in front of Chelsea's goal, but it's still Liverpool who lead after 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's Milner over on the far side, 1-2 with Van Dijk. 20 minutes gone in this game. Unofficial off-tube studio commentary of Chelsea 0, Liverpool 1. Ball back to Henderson, opens up to the right hand side for Trent Alexander-Arnold. Really poor ball, comes off his studs there, really miscued that one there, the England right back, as Alonso looks to go down the left now. Havertz one-on-one with Virgil van Dijk. Kanate steps in to defence as well as Pulisic made a run forward, and Liverpool trying to rejig things now at the back as Chelsea just come backwards to their back line with Rudiger and Thiago Silva. Still, though, it's Chelsea on the ball, although you would expect that now, given that the fact that they need to go and score.
They do. They have to get their next goal in this game. A 2-0 lead for Liverpool makes things that much more difficult for Chelsea, who haven't been particularly prolific in front of goal in the last few games. And a ball over to Azpilicueta there on the right-hand side, just a bit too high for him.
Yeah, he can only head the ball down the line and out for a Liverpool throw-in, and the ball will come into Tsimikas' hands to take that throw and probably look down the left-hand side. But it's certainly been a thrilling start to this game, hasn't it? It's been all hands to the block in terms of feisty tackling around the midfield, battling for those second balls as Chelsea win a throw-in over on the far side. It continues a run of 38 games in all competitions between these two sides that have not ended 0-0, which is quite a record.
That is quite a record. It's good to see as well, because a lot of the top four games can sometimes just peter out into a bit of a stalemate. But I suppose that's a fallout from the days of Mourinho and Benitez and all the hoo-ha with the goal. Did it cross the line in the Champions League and all of that? And ever since then, there has been there was a rivalry before then as well, of course. But certainly in the last 7 to 8 years, these two sides have been at the business end. And here come Liverpool now with a great chance to Salah.
Salah one-on-one with Mendy, looks to shoot left-footed, hits it straight into the Senegalese goalkeeper, who stood up really tall and strong there. Salah once again misses a great opportunity. Eventually the flag has come up for offside.
The flag has come up, but I did wonder, because he was so far ahead of everybody else. I just wondered, and I tell you what, it's not actually that much of an offside. He is offside, but it's almost his body that's leaning behind Rudiger. If he'd have waited another second there, he might have been level.
Yeah, Rudiger stepped up really quickly there and just in the nick of time, although the Egyptian did miss the chance, and missed a brilliant chance, of course, against Leicester from the penalty spot and the follow-up where he hit the bar with his head. Mane also missed a cracking chance in that game as well. And when you miss chances, it comes back to bite you, and it did in that one as Kasper Schmeichel and Leicester City managed to win 1-0 thanks to a goal from Ademola Lookman. As for Chelsea, they got a kick in the teeth in the 91st minute as Danny Welbeck scored at Stamford Bridge to get an equaliser. As Salah once again down the right, 1-2 with Mohamed Salah. That one goes out for a throw-in, and we are a quarter of the way through the game already, Paul, and a good chance to pass over to you for the rest of the half.
Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, it has gone very quickly indeed. Both of these sides are in Carabao Cup action midweek as well. Both have North London opposition, with Chelsea taking on Spurs, Liverpool away to Arsenal. Non-clearance there from Mendy, just goes a little bit awry. It's out for a throw to Liverpool down the right-hand side. Trent Alexander-Arnold now with the ball. And as I say, it has really been a really bright start. But from Liverpool's point of view, this last minute or so is what they need. They had that great chance, of course, although Salah was offside. But now a throw on the halfway line, a bit of possession in midfield, just diffuse what Chelsea are trying to do. There's a long lofted ball there from Alexander-Arnold to Tsimikas, who does well to skip past Azpilicueta, gets to the edge of the area, looks up to see who's in the box, tries to pick out a cross for Henderson. It's a bit too high for him, headed away by Alonso, drops to Alexander-Arnold, whose volley goes into the back of Marcus Alonso, and it's out for a Liverpool corner.
I think he panicked a little bit there, Alexander-Arnold. His touch was poor, wasn't it? It bounced up to almost shoulder height and then just tried to fizz it into the box first time. If his first control was better, he could have crossed it into the box, but Liverpool now finding space in and around the Chelsea box, and that one didn't have to be so headed out by Alonso. He didn't have anyone attacking the ball because Henderson left it.
Absolutely. The problem for Chelsea is that although they've had the lion's share of possession, because Liverpool are leading, there's that pressure on Chelsea when they're forced back into defence. They know they can't really afford to concede a second, as Van Dijk with his arm up in the air wants to cross into the box. There's a short ball here between Alexander-Arnold and Milner. Back to Alexander-Arnold, left-footed cross aimed at Van Dijk. Looks like Azpilicueta just got there ahead of him. It's out for a corner on the left-hand side this time.
He's done really well there, Cesar Azpilicueta, hasn't he? To beat Van Dijk in the air when he was running the opposite way, so had to look for the ball over his shoulder. He's done brilliantly to turn that away.
He's done well, and he needs to be in a good position here again now, as Tsimikas is waiting to take this corner kick. You can see Konate jostling for space there at the edge of the 6-yard box. It's an outswinger. Konate jumps to it. Rudiger gets there first. Then a sliced effort from Alexander-Arnold. Almost turns out like a pass, and Van Dijk was underneath that, just at the edge of the 6-yard box, but that one's cleared away back towards the halfway line where Fabinho had stayed behind as the last man for Liverpool. He tries a diagonal ball over to the left-hand side. Tsimikas was acrobatic in keeping it in play, but he unfortunately played it straight to Azpilicueta, and now Chalobah clears it up to Havertz, but he's robbed of the ball by Mane. Good play from him there. Now it's with Henderson. Back towards Alexander-Arnold, and there's been a marked improvement here from Liverpool. They're just starting to try and set the pace now. Ball played aside now to Fabinho, back towards Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, they're taking care of the ball better, aren't they now?
Great ball over the top from Alexander-Arnold to find Salah, and Salah beats Mendy at the near post. And on 25 minutes, it's a 2-goal lead for Liverpool. This is turning into a virtuoso performance away from home. They've had so much work to do in defence, but they now lead 2-0.
He missed a brilliant chance before, although he was offside. This time he tucks it into the near post past Mendy. It's a great ball from Alexander-Arnold, who gets yet another assist this season. And Mohamed Salah, who gets his 16th in the league. He didn't score against Leicester. That ended his run that was level with Jamie Vardy. But he scores the straight game back after that.
He does. Mistake there from Pulisic. He could have got to that ball that was played to Fabinho. Nobody tracks the run of Salah. And the way he gets past Marcus Alonso, it's almost like he wasn't there. He barely even has to drop his shoulder. And Alonso's already been sold down the river, and then Salah just gets away from him, sees that Mendy just leaves a bit of that near post exposed, and the Egyptian does the rest.
Yeah, he opens up his body, looking as though he was going towards the top left-hand corner, and nips it towards that near side. Alonso has to do better in that situation, doesn't he? That's potentially what happens when you don't have your first-team left-back. Yeah,
I think that is true, and you can see just how much the Liverpool bench liked that one, because they've had a very, very difficult first half with so much work in defence, but now a 2-goal lead. And needless to say, Thomas Tuchel's side have to get the next goal in this game, because this little blip for Chelsea seems to be going on a bit of an extended one now.
Yeah, it does, although they will surely take some positives with the way they've played early in this game.
Well, a ball over the top, encouraging there for Havertz, but in the end it was played a little bit too close to the edge of the penalty area, so Kelleher can come out and make the save. But a worried look on the face of Thomas Tuchel, and a worried look of on the face of the Chelsea fans we can see on our pictures now.
In terms of the way they played, it's certainly not all hope lost, though, is it, for Chelsea? They've been brilliant, as Milner just has to quickly step in for
the energy levels, you can't fault them.
No.
The way they've gone after trying to get the advantage here in this game, making up for the fact they conceded that early goal. But now they've won themselves a free kick after a bit of a clumsy challenge there from Diogo Jota.
Yeah, it's not been the effort or the chances, it's been the finishing, hasn't it, for Chelsea? They're without some of their top scorers as well. The likes of, of course, they've got Mount, but they're without Jorginho, Lukaku, James, Chilwell. They're all their top scorers.
Absolutely. Well, there's one of those, of course, that's an absentee by choice, of course. The other players you mentioned are either injured, suspended, or having to not play because of self-isolation. But Romelu Lukaku is in none of those categories. He's just been dropped from the team today after his choice words in an interview which was actually recorded 6 weeks ago, but only aired in the last week. He made some comments, which we'll come back to in a second, because right now Liverpool were on the attack. I say Henderson just got stopped at the edge of the area. And now it's with Antonio Rudiger bringing the ball forward. Finds Matteo Kovacic. Still plenty of Liverpool players here in the Chelsea half, but Kovacic tries to play a long ball down the left for Alonso. That's dealt with by Trent Alexander-Arnold. And now it's with Henderson down the right-hand side. Puts the ball into the penalty area. Taken down by Jota. He's hoping for a teammate to come and support him. Milner was arriving, but just a little bit too far away. Now Kante brings the ball out for Chelsea. He finds Christian Pulisic, and there's Mason Mount on the right-hand side. Not seen enough of him so far in the game. Mount, he plays it square to Kante. And Kante now over towards the left-hand side for Kai Havertz. Alonso's actually ahead of Havertz in this particular move, but Liverpool are back in numbers. Chelsea just forced to slow things down here in midfield. Kante now tries the ball over towards Azpilicueta. He does keep it in play. Gets that ball back towards Mount, who's under pressure from Mane. And then as Mount plays that ball back to Azpilicueta, he's in an offside position.
Initially, I thought the flag came up as Mane was nipping at the heels of Mason Mount, but yeah, it was offside in the end, as we see another replay of this Liverpool goal. He's behind Henderson, isn't he, on that right-hand side, Mohamed Salah, but then sprints past him, and the way he just drifts in there Nobody watching him. Nobody at all.
No, and it's not like he's an anonymous player. He's pretty well known in the Premier League, Mo Salah, so they should be aware of where he is on the pitch at all times, and that will be very frustrating for Thomas Tuchel. Mohamed Salah with 25 goals and assists this season. The next on that list is Mikhail Antonio and Emmanuel Dennis, both on 13.
Yeah, it's outrageous numbers, isn't it, from Mohamed Salah? Of course, that first season he had in the Premier League, his numbers were up there as well, and he's dipped for the last couple just slowly, but he's picked it back up this season, hasn't he?
He has. I mean, there's so much class about the way he plays. There's so much about his game. He's like most strikers, he can have a little dips in his form. Sometimes he just doesn't quite get the right ball or can't get himself into the right position, but he's chasing a long ball here now at the edge of the area. Mendy just comes out and makes the save. 30 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. Chelsea trailing Liverpool by 2-0 here at Stamford Bridge.
And to think as well, we all think of Trent Alexander-Arnold for providing assists. That is his 9th, I believe, of the season. Salah's got 10.
Well, that's it, isn't it? So Salah's scoring the goals, but he's providing them as well as Mason Mount. Well, he collides with Kostas Tsimikas there, and the Liverpool players are unhappy. They felt as though Mount had just kicked out at the Liverpool man there. I'm not so sure that Anthony Taylor is as concerned about this as the Liverpool players were. Tsimikas with a bit of a shoulder into the chest of Mason Mount there as well. Just have a look at this one, Matt. It's Chelsea playing out from the back, and as Thiago plays that ball forward, it's Mount running into Tsimikas and then leaves a bit of a foot on him as well.
Yeah, Tsimikas, I think, has almost purposefully got in the way of his run. Oh, he does flick a foot out, doesn't he? It's not with any studs or anything like that. His foot's almost caught between the arms and the legs of Tsimikas and drags his foot away with some force. The initial contact was arm to head, but I don't think that was intentional.
Well, I don't think Anthony Taylor's allowing this free kick to be taken, so I do wonder if VAR are just checking this. Mason Mount had a bit of a nervous look up towards the big scoreboard there, and checking a possible red card for violent conduct. Well, that would be so ironic. I mean, it's the motion that he would want to kick out without actually really kicking out. But would that intent to sort of leave a boot on Tsimikas, could that be enough to see him get sent off? It's
this angle we're just seeing now from the facial angle of Tsimikas. He certainly drags his foot away. I don't think there's enough force in that for me to be a red card. Slow-mo helps him, I think.
I just think that if that proves to be a red card, then Sadio Mane with his flying elbow into the face of Azpilicueta,
game on.
That would have to be. And it has been no VAR check anymore, so there's no red card. We're back underway. Tsimikas still having a bit of a word with Mason Mount, so we'll keep an eye on those two. That may not be the last time that they have some sort of spat, but Mo Salah, they're controlling the ball, laying it back to Henderson, who plays it early over the top, looking for Jota. It's been cleared, but only partially cleared by Azpilicueta, and kept alive here by Milner, now in towards Mane down the left-hand side. Milner again finding Jota. Tsimikas plays the ball into space here for Jota, who goes on the overlap, breaks into the penalty area, plays a great ball across the 6-yard box, but nobody in a Liverpool shirt was following that cross. I did like to see Henderson actually gave a quick clap there to his teammate, because it was the right ball. Now Chelsea trying to respond at the other end, but Pulisic just hounded out of it by a combination of Van Dijk and Konate.
Yeah, I think Henderson was the man moving in, but not quite quick enough. He didn't have that number 9 striker's instinct to get to that front post. Just going back to Mason Mount, I don't think he didn't get a yellow card either, confirmation of that. I don't know whether the referee saw the initial incident, because VAR can't give a yellow card either.
No, they can't. It seems a bit of a strange rule, that, doesn't it? I mean, it's almost like, I understand that VAR isn't there to check for yellow cards, but if they're checking a red card and see something that could potentially be a booking, that should still be a booking, I think. It seems like a little bit of a strange rule, that. But great work from Jota down the left-hand side. And you often see that, don't you, particularly with teams away from home on the counter-attack, that the striker is the furthest forward and he puts a great ball into the box, but of course he's supposed to be the one in the box to actually get on the end of the cross, and that was the case there with Jota. Couldn't quite find Henderson or any of his other teammates in the penalty area. But here is Kai Havertz, runs straight into Milner, actually made it quite easy for Milner to dispossess him there, and Milner now finds Kostas Tsimikas down the left-hand side. Tsimikas back to Milner. The pressure there from Havertz, going back in towards Diogo Jota, who's playing almost a free role here. Jota, he's pretty much back with the midfielders here in this position.
Yeah, he is. He's in that Firmino role, that traditional Firmino role from this Liverpool team, but he is drifting absolutely everywhere, trying to link things up between Mane and the midfielders, isn't he? Liverpool have started to dominate the ball now. After that second goal, they started winning the second balls, and then they've settled, haven't they? It's been a big settle, that last goal.
I think psychologically Chelsea are just a little bit deflated because they started the game with so much effort and conceded, responded to conceding with even more effort to try and get back into the game, and now they find themselves 2 down. So I think it's been a frustrating 34 minutes here for Thomas Tuchel's side. And they just need to keep their energy levels up, though, because, as I say, if Liverpool were to score again before half-time, then things get really, really complicated, very complicated indeed. Of course, if Chelsea were to score before half-time, it just makes things that little bit more interesting, as we can see a couple of the Chelsea players not on the bench today, in Reece James and Timo Werner as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They're deflated of attacking options, aren't they, at the minute, Chelsea? Although they still have a deep squad. They've still got the 3 men that they've got on today, but it's one of those, isn't it? When you don't have your first team options, it's slightly frustrating, but I suppose it's frustrating to teams lower down the division that they've still got great options. Yes,
absolutely. It's say you look at some of the teams near the bottom of the league, they've got 7 or 10 players out injured and with COVID self-isolation as well. But here come Chelsea down the left now with Marcus Alonso, finds Christian Pulisic at the edge of the area. Kante tries a ball in towards Kai Havertz, played away by Van Dijk up towards the halfway line. Chalobah takes this down, and Azpilicueta gets that ball into Kante. He's stopped by James Milner, out for a throw to Chelsea down the right-hand side.
It's testament to James Milner. I think it's this year it's his 20th year in the Premier League, and he's still being picked for these huge games. This is the likes of Keita, Curtis Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain all at the bench, but he's the man that's been asked to fill that role.
He has. I mean, as I say, he was a record breaker when he started in the league, one of the youngest players ever, one of the youngest scorers. But here come Liverpool again with a ball straight through to Mane. Chalobah slides into it, at least slow him down, but there's still a chance here for Salah in the penalty area. Salah with the strike, it gets a big deflection, and it's out for a corner. But once again, that ball's played straight down the middle to Mo Salah. And Chalobah on this occasion saving Chelsea after his earlier mistake.
Brilliant last challenge, wasn't it, from Trevor Chalobah? I think Salah's onside. Mane maybe slightly off. If he looks to his left, Salah has got options, but I think the way he controls it turns that option away, and Chalobah's sliding in. If he gets that wrong, he's potentially off the field. It's a brilliant tackle.
It is a great challenge. If he gets it wrong, he gives away a penalty. Chelsea could have been down to 10 men and 3 goals down, but it's Kostas Tsimikas waiting to take this one. It's an outswinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box, played away by Matteo Kovacic. Back towards the halfway line, there is Fabinho, always stays back for the corner kicks for Liverpool. Now Trent Alexander-Arnold with a long diagonal ball, finding Tsimikas, who hits it first time, aimed at the near post. I think he was hoping to try and get that more of a pass rather than a shot like it was in the end, but it was a difficult one to control.
It was. It's a couple of times that Liverpool have played that ball over the top to the left-hand side, though, isn't it? In behind Azpilicueta and in front of Chalobah, or over the top of Chalobah. I think it was Henderson that played a previous ball over to Jota on that side. It's clearly an intentional action, isn't it, from Liverpool to switch it like that?
It certainly is, and it looks it's played dividends for them on a couple of occasions in getting that ball closer to the Chelsea penalty area. But Chelsea now doing what they can to at least stay in possession. They're struggling to get further forward now, but it's with Thiago Silva over towards the right-hand side, headed on by Azpilicueta. But by the time that ball reaches Kai Havertz, it's already out of play, and it will be a throw on to Liverpool, with the visitors now looking in a much better position. I mean, the scoreline's obviously been in their favour from very early on in this match, but now the amount of possession and the way the game's going, it's actually Liverpool in control, which must be a worry here for Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not really cutting through the midfield like they were in those early moments and causing issues at the back, because Liverpool were pretty scrappy on the edge of the box, and they had the ball on the edge of Liverpool's box quite a lot. They just couldn't find that final pass, and now those options have dried up a little bit. They're battling with Kante and Kovacic in midfield and playing it wide, but they can't really get it inside, can they?
No, that is the problem. As Tsimikas now with a throw for Liverpool down the left-hand side. Diogo Jota and Trevor Chalobah both hit the deck, but according to Anthony Taylor, it is the Liverpool man that was committing the foul there. Certainly tell from Jota's expression there that he doesn't agree with that particular decision. But free kick's been taken short. Chelsea not looking to clear this long, trying to play out from the back. It's now with Thiago Silva. Looks up, plays the ball over towards the right-hand side now for Trevor Chalobah. Now it's with Azpilicueta, back to Chalobah. Square now to Thiago Silva, and Chelsea just not finding that sort of rhythm, that sort of space in the Liverpool half that they were early in the game. Over on the left now is Marcus Alonso. Two Liverpool players closing him down. Plays it square to Kante. He was being closed down straight away by James Milner. Thiago looked up, didn't have an option on that right-hand side. Now he does, in the form of Azpilicueta. Takes it down, left-footed ball over now for Havertz to chase. But it's all a little bit telegraphed, and then Havertz just leaves a bit of a foot in there on Van Dijk as well.
Yeah, Van Dijk controlled it with his right boot, outside of his right boot, and then just flicked the ball onto Milner. I think the press from Chelsea just tried to nick it off his toes, didn't it? And in the end just caught the big Dutchman who went down to the turf. We'll just see a replay of it now. It's just a connection shin to the back of the leg, I think, of Van Dijk. Not intentional from Havertz. He was just chasing down and just got his legs in a bit of a mix-up, really.
Yeah, but you can certainly see that Van Dijk still isn't too pleased about all of that. It is going to be a free kick to Liverpool now with around 5 minutes plus injury time to go in this first half. Chelsea 0, Liverpool 2. Trent Alexander-Arnold now over on the right-hand side for Liverpool. Konate under a bit of pressure. Going back towards Kelleher. Interesting stat. Chelsea have had 2 shots. None of them have been on target. Liverpool have had 6 efforts on goal, 4 of them on target. And yet the possession says it's 60-40 in favour of Chelsea. So they're just not being productive with all the ball that they have. But they're trying now down the right-hand side. Havertz runs straight into Milner. And I just wonder if that's going to be given as a free kick, because there was a bit left in there from Milner.
Yeah, it has. He's just gone in with the hip, hasn't he? Havertz has tried to nick the ball down the line. As he's running past Milner initially, he just goes shoulder to shoulder with him. But as he does so the second time, he toes the ball down the line. It's going out of play, but Milner comes in with a little bit too much force.
He does, yes.
And late.
Yeah, it was late. And as I say, Milner should know better with his experience there, particularly as he got away with it the first time. But a good chance this now for Chelsea. Just a couple of yards from the right-hand edge of the penalty area.
If you've got Romelu Lukaku on the field, you smash this one at the goalkeeper and tell the big Belgian to run at it, don't you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Or whipping across the pace for Lukaku to try and attack. There's still a bit of height left in this Chelsea team, of course. Chalobah currently waiting at the edge. They're actually being beckoned by Thiago Silva to get a bit closer to the 6-yard box. It's Marcus Alonso, goes for goal. He does fire it at that near post. Rudiger was there.
Oh!
Kovacic! What a strike that is from Matteo Kovacic. And Chelsea are on the board in some style in this game with just 4 minutes to go before half-time. The ball was cleared to the edge of the area. Kovacic pings it with the outside of the boot, grazes the post and crossbar on one side before going in, over on the other. Absolutely fantastic from the Croatian.
Absolutely. It's a brilliant free kick from Alonso initially. Kelleher gets his fists on it. It fires out to the edge of the box in towards Kovacic, who plants his left boot, fires it just straight on, doesn't he, with his right boot, and fires it towards that top right-hand corner as he's looking at it, and there's no stopping that. It dips, it loops, it just fires towards the goal, clips the post. What a goal. He's off the ground.
He's off the ground. He's off balance.
Wow.
I mean, if he'd have skied that like you would expect with that sort of lack of balance, we'd be saying, well, he needs to get into position. He's got to take a touch. You don't want to just rush it when you've got the ball at the edge of the box. But with his experience, with his talent, the Croatian just smashes that one towards goal. Now, there's a VAR delay here. And what is this going to be for?
My only thing I can think of is his foul on the goalkeeper. Rudiger getting too close.
Possibly. Well, that's the only thing we can see here. Is there an offside as Kovacic hits this?
No, he's not in the way.
They can't say that
Thiago Silva?
Thiago Silva. I mean, the ball is above Rudiger. There's no way that Kelleher is impeded in any way by Antonio Rudiger, because the shot is made long before then. And it's taken a little while, but VAR now confirming that the goal has been given. And, yeah, well, I think there's a bit of an ironic wow and a round of applause there from Thomas Tuchel, and I suppose that's because there was no delay for VAR checking the red card for Mane.
Yeah,
there was never a VAR check for that, and yet they managed to spend a minute and a half checking to see whether Kovacic's goal was there anyone in an offside position. But we are underway now. 43 minutes gone, independent of Tube Studio commentary. It's now Chelsea 1, Liverpool 2, and Matt, it's very much game on.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it was unfair for Chelsea to be back down by 2 goals at the break, but they're back in to 1 goal now. Henderson just having a word with the referee as well just before the game was restarted, because Chelsea are wanting to get things rolling now. It's their first shot on target. They had very similar in terms of touches in the opposing box, but didn't have those shots and chances at goal. Now they've got to within 1. The crowd will be behind them.
The crowd will certainly be behind them, and the Stamford Bridge crowd will be a lot more positive now after a first half where they've seen their side have a lot of the ball but not create too many chances. And tell you what a first shot on target from Chelsea in this game. Fabulous from Kovacic. But now it's Liverpool trying to respond at the other end as Mo Salah just gets stopped right by the corner flag by Marcus Alonso. It's out for a throw. Trent Alexander-Arnold now with the ball for Liverpool. It's got a few options here. One of those is Diogo Jota. That's where the ball has gone. He's trying to turn away from Marcus Alonso. Kovacic gets his body in the way and does really well to win the ball back there for Chelsea. Plays it up towards Pulisic, who is brought down by Ibrahima Konate, and that will be a free kick, which is taken quickly, too quickly. The ball was still in motion, says Anthony Taylor. Chelsea just have to slow things down.
Yeah, just a minute or so to go before the half-time break. I'm not too sure in terms of added time, probably a couple of minutes you would have thought with VAR intervening. I think
we'll get 2 minutes. I'd be surprised if we had less than 2, and I don't think we get more than 3. That's probably going to be in that sort of area. It tends to be at the end of the first half. It's a nominal figure anyway. We lose a lot more than the 2 or 3 minutes that we get back in terms of the injury time. But the ball now down the right-hand side here with Kai Havertz. He's robbed of the ball, and now Milner tries to throw the ball through towards Jota. That's stopped by Thiago. The ball then deflects into the path of Kante, who tries to thread it through quickly for the run of Pulisic, but that is played back in towards the Chelsea half. Volleyed clear this time by Trevor Chalobah. A fight for it in midfield, but it's Liverpool that come away with it. Henderson now to Alexander-Arnold. He heads it forward to Salah. He's well marked though by Rudiger, and now Kante flicks that ball forward for Pulisic. There's no offside, and Pulisic puts the ball into the back of the net. Is there going to be an offside flag? Well, if there isn't, then Chelsea have equalised here inside the last 5 minutes of the first half from 2-0 down to 2-2. But there may still be a question mark over the offside.
I think it's a fair goal from my point of view. Van Dijk stood off, didn't he? He tried to play the offside trap, then didn't come across. He was hoping somebody would come and cover Christian Pulisic, who's volleyed it left-footed into the top right-hand corner. That's why Chelsea wanted to get on with the restart. They've levelled it.
They have levelled it. They've just used that momentum from the fabulous goal from Matteo Kovacic, and Liverpool just caught out a little bit, as we see here. Henderson plays a risky ball to Alexander-Arnold. Arnold then plays that forward. When that's played to Kante, he's not offside. And there's no offside against Christian Pulisic either. It's Van Dijk that's behind everybody else. But in any case, still a great finish there from Pulisic.
Yeah, it is left-footed, top right-hand corner. He just about gets it to tip before the crossbar comes along, doesn't he? Kelleher trying to reach for it is never going to be able to stop that one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And we said that when now they're within one, the crowd will be behind them before the break. It's level. It's
level. It's going to be a fascinating second half. As we're into injury time now, we've still not seen the border because the goal was scored pretty much bang on 45 minutes. So wait to see just how much time has been added. There'll probably be an extra 30 seconds on top of that now. But here come Chelsea again on the attack straight away here with Alonso and Pulisic down the left-hand side. Alonso being stopped here by Alexander-Arnold. Plays the ball back in towards Antonio Rudiger. Inside now towards Kovacic. Back towards Chalobah. 4 minutes added to this first half in terms of injury time. Don't see that very often. We've had nearly 2 minutes of that already, but Liverpool now win the ball back in midfield with Mane back heel towards Jota. Then he plays a quick ball into the box here for Salah. Salah tries to thread that ball across the 6-yard box, gets a slight deflection and won't go through towards Mane. It's up towards the halfway line where Pulisic just about does enough to keep it in play. And now Alonso lofts a great ball over the top here for Mount. And now it's Havertz breaking into the box. Havertz tries to get it onto his left foot. It drops to Mason Mount. He plays it past Kelleher, but he never gets the power or the direction behind it. And it's away for a goal kick, but so close to Chelsea being 3-2 up before half-time.
Well, both had great chances there, didn't they? Liverpool had the ball in towards Salah. He couldn't quite reach it this time at the other end. It's a good win of the tackle by Tsimikas. It falls to Mount. Van Dijk goes with a header and it just about dribbles wide. I think Van Dijk does enough to put Mount off there.
He does, yeah. The ball just deflects off him and then back to Mason Mount, who almost felt like he had to go for that. Kelleher was diving across. Slightly nervous look on the Irish goalkeeper's face there, but you can see in the end that it's just wide. But you can see how this Stamford Bridge crowd have really come to life now. Credit to Chelsea for recovering from what will seem like a very difficult position at one stage as Mane chases this ball down. Azpilicueta, it's almost like he was thinking about pushing Mane into the boards there, but just stopped himself.
I tell you what, it's a great chance for Mane there. If he takes that down, Salah is ahead of the rest of the defence and can whip it in first time. Salah turned away and threw his hand towards it, frustrated at the situation. But with 45 seconds to go, could it be level at the break? We don't know.
Yeah, it's still possible that we could see a fifth goal here in these last seconds of the first half. Long clearance up towards the halfway line as Pulisic tries to hold it up. He's robbed of the ball this time, though. Long ball now towards Mo Salah. Plays it back towards Jordan Henderson. Henderson now holds it up on the halfway line. Looks up to see where his options are. One of them is Salah and Milner, both going down the right-hand side. He was looking for James Milner. So that ball has been won by Antonio Rudiger clears it to the halfway line where Fabinho is there, flicks the ball back towards Alexander-Arnold. He plays it in towards Mo Salah, cleared back into midfield. We've had the 4 minutes of injury time now. We're going to play on for a few more seconds potentially as this ball is played into the Chelsea penalty area, and Thiago Silva just miskicked it as Mane was putting pressure on him, but Chelsea do finally get the ball away. It's back over onto the halfway line now. The referee's adding time in addition to the 4 minutes we were supposed to have. It's Liverpool in possession now with Henderson down to Salah, back to Henderson, who plays that ball in towards the edge of the area. It's cleared by Azpilicueta back towards the halfway line, headed forward by Van Dijk, straight to Azpilicueta, and then the ball goes out of play for a throw to Liverpool down the left-hand side. I think it's fair to say the referee is going to play a full 5 minutes of injury time here, and that could prove to be costly for Liverpool as they almost got caught in possession in midfield, but a combination of Havertz and Kante weren't able to take advantage, and then Trevor Chalobah brought down there by Diogo Jota. And that will be a free kick to Chelsea. That should be it for this half as well.
It should be. I think he was adding time for those Chelsea celebrations, wasn't he, from that second goal. Pep Lijnders not looking as happy as he did before, and it will be half-time.
It is half-time then at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. A fascinating first half. Do join us in 15 minutes for studio commentary of the second half.